welcome. This is Hawkissimo. And in this video, we're going to be covering Neith, the Weaver of Fate, one of the hunters that's available in the free rotation of gods for Smite players. If you haven't bought the God Pack, you'll have immediate access to this god. So, in this guide, we're going to cover both the ability progression order and how you set that, and then an item builder. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Again, this is a quick guide for people who are just learning the character and are playing in Clash, Siege, Arena, and Joust. This is not a conquest guide. I just want to make that clear. Okay. In the ability builder, I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can read each of these abilities on your own game in your own time. But I did want to cover what the ability progression order is. And, you know, if you haven't set any of these up, the numbers 1 through 20 are blank. You definitely want to go ahead and hit the touchpad to clear them and go ahead and start populating them as I have above. What we're going to do is we're going to prioritize the Spirit Arrow, the 1. That's going to be your primary source of minion clear. It has a root on it, which lets you then burst down that enemy. Very, very good damage scaling. 90% of your physical power scales with this ability. In fact, Neith is an ability-based hunter. She is not an auto attack-based hunter. So she gets a lot of power from her abilities, and your build, a proper build, reflects that. Then I go ahead and get you your defensive option because, you know, if you're fighting early on, and you get yourself into trouble, this is nice. Not only does it do damage, but it puts a slow on the enemy. And again, amazing scaling, 80%. You know, other hunters are envious of Neith's scaling, and that's what makes her such a good introductory hunter. Then we go into Ravel. Ravel is going to be how you get your heal. And by all means, when you read the passive, you'll see about how you put weaves on the ground and get additional benefits when you shoot over those little glowing icons that are on the ground. And then, you know, we come back to her 1, but then we get her ultimate. And her ultimate is something that you're going to want to level each time. And the reason for that is not the 65 points of base damage that you're getting, but it's that you're increasing the stun amount, and that she has such fantastic damage scaling, 120, that when you cast your ultimate, you really want to confirm that kill. Or you're trying to set up one of your allies across the world. There is no range on her ultimate. So when you crouch into this, you can scroll around looking for your enemy and highlight them. You want to let that go so that time ticks so that you get the full damage out of here, because you can see the arrow can be fired quicker for diminished results, but you're going to want to get the full effect of your damage. So go ahead into jungle practice and practice that. But that is the ability builder. All right, let's hop into the item builder and how I feel that you should set up this hunter. And again, the most common mistake that I see Neith players make is going into attack speed, particularly with attack speed that has no damage on it, too early. And that's horrible, because then you're a fast-hitting flea, but, you know, you're not doing any damage. And that's completely contrary to her damage scaling and how you want to play this hunter. So, as an ability-based hunter, we want to go into Bluestone Pendant. I know that some of you might have been thinking that we'd go into Death's Toll, but really, you get all 4 of your abilities do damage. To get that additional damage proccing on your abilities is just a ton of damage at first level, plus getting the MP5 back so that you have better mana because you are an ability-based hunter is very important. So, Bluestone Pendant. You definitely want Warrior Tabi. Do not build Ninja Tabi. I know you're tempted to go ahead and get attack speed as quick as you can. I'm going to put attack speed in the build for you, but we're going to hold off a little bit. Nothing wrong with picking up some consumables, potions. Whether or not you get the chalice or not is completely up to you, but I certainly think it's an efficient build in the modes that I'm talking about, because you do back to the fountain a lot and so getting it free refill is awfully nice. Okay, so into the core. Shift Your Shield is something that got buffed in patch 4.9. It gives you both power and it gives you defense, and that's 70 power for 2,350 gold, which is fantastic, plus the defense, and when you fall below 50% health, you get the extra defense. Really lets you trade off blows. So I think that this is a new item that shifts into the hunter build meta, but I think you get a lot of bang for your buck. Here's where I'm getting you some attack speed. Now, this is a Sai. It's very cheap. You're going to find it here right here. You're going to get 15% lifesteal, plus one of your abilities gives you lifesteal. You get your 20% attack speed, and you get 15% pen to try and start cutting through people's natural armor plus any armor that they build. And then again, it has a very nifty effect that I think combines very well with Shift Your Shield, in that when you start dropping low in health, you're getting more tanky. You know, Shift Your Shield gave you the extra defense, and this is giving you the extra lifesteal. So should really let you trade out blows one for one with other hunters, particularly if they've built a squishy build without something like Shift Your Shield early. Now, this next item you have a couple choices on. I happen to put Joe Turns. Joe Turns is 40 power, it's 10 pen. You get the extra mana, and you get the 20% cooldown, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. But, you know, if you're still craving some additional attack speed, in the same tree is Crusher. I don't think that that's a bad choice either. It's only 10 less power than Joe Turns, but you pick up 15% attack speed, and you get 5% more penetration. Now, the downside of this is that you lose your 20% cooldown. So you'll cast your abilities a little bit less, and you'll have 150 less mana than you went here. But if you wanted to do a little bit more mixing of your abilities and your auto attacks and picked up Crusher, sure, nothing wrong with that. Oh, by the way, if there's a healer on the enemy team or somebody who has a self-heal, pick up Brawler's Beat Stick instead and still have 40 power, get 15 pen, and really shut down their healing pretty hard with a 40% reduction over 8 seconds. 8 seconds is an eternity in Smite. So regardless of which one you get there. Finally, you don't want to sleep on getting percentage penetration. And it's not just to cut through enemies' armor, but it's really to help you with objectives. You know, and I put it late here. You know, I gave you flat pen for the people early, but Titan's Bane is going to let you do much, 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 much more damage to towers, to phoenixes, to things like the Gold Fury and the Fire Giant and Apophis, and most importantly, the enemy Titan. So by all means, you definitely want to go get there. And then when you get to the point where you've purchased all these items, whoops, you're going to have that one extra slot because you're going to sell your starter item and come down into the flex build. But before we start talking about the flex build items, let's remember that you get a free relic at first level and you get a second one at 12th level. So which relics work for Neith? Well, I think the safest picks are the two that I have highlighted, and you can't go wrong with that. If, however, you wanted to pick up this item to be able to chase people down and or run away, it does get a cooldown improvement in 4.10, which is still a week away for console, so there's nothing wrong with that. And remember, it also helps your allies as well, so it's got some viability from that stance as well. All right, so your flex picks, you know, here's where I really like Bloodforge, and I don't typically like Bloodforge on hunters because it's very expensive for what it does, but again, she has such strong ability scaling that it fits very, very well with her. And you start to see that we get up to 245 power, so you know, when you're starting to get 80, 90, and 120% of that, makes all of those abilities hit real hard, plus her basic attack. starts hitting like a truck. We talked about how Brawler Speed Stick could be used. And you know what? If you're willing to sit on a little bit less damage but want to increase your attack speed here with this item, nothing wrong with that. I'll give you one more pick in this. It's in the Asai tree. Quinn Size would be fantastic here, as would Executioner. Out of the two, I think I'd prefer Quinn Size. Quinn Size has no equal in terms of its 1-for-1 trading, but 40 power. Great passive, 40 power. Great ability scaling, so if you're going to run on abilities, get Bloodforge. If you're trying to go more auto attack, go this way. Either one, not a bad choice. Whoops, let's do save that. And this is one of those rare times where I don't cover a B build. I think Neith is pretty darn straightforward. She is an ability-based hunter. I don't want to see Odysseus' bow on her. I don't want to see any of these items that don't do power along with it, except for Asai, because of the sustain that it's giving you. It's bringing you some attack speed, and it's got that penetration, which is so helpful. So with that, we've covered Neith. If you've liked any of the information that you found here, please by all means click the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I'll be continuing this series. I will not only be doing the gods that are in the free rotation, but I will continue to expand this to include additional gods that I think you can branch into most easily. And I have a couple already picked out for each of the classes. If you have comments or questions, go ahead and drop them in below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And thank you for watching. This is Hawkissimo signing out.